I saw a comment recently and it said, everyone can trade, but not everyone can be a trader. I thought this was interesting because it's not really something you'll hear online traders say much because they want you to think that trading is easy. But the truth is, not everyone has the resilience or the stubbornness that it takes to be a trader. Day trading is difficult. I mean, of course it is. It's a skill with literally limitless potential. In fact, I still think that trading is one of, if not the most powerful skill you can ever have, because with no ceiling, there's literally no limit for how far you can take it. But the catch is, the success is lying on you and you only. You have nobody else to rely on. I'm not here to convince you to trade today, but if you're willing to work 8 hours a day for the next 50 years at your minimum wage 9 to 5, then why wouldn't you do the same for the next 2 years to make trading work? Trust me, I've been through the phase of losing money in trading that I low-key didn't have. I was spending the last of my money trying to fund my live account because low-key I thought trading was going to be a lot easier than it was, and I guess I just thought it was going to be a lot quicker of a process than it was. But hey, a few years later, we're here and I'm able to make consistent payouts. It wasn't easy and I did question myself at points. In fact, I documented my entire journey on this channel and you can kind of see my lowest points. I'm really proud of myself looking back, but if you genuinely take the right path, then you can 1000% make it in trading. I'm not special, you're not special. The next profitable retail trader, he's nothing special. It's a real thing, but I don't want you to waste your time if you don't think you can't handle it. And if you think you can, then you're gonna have to lock the fuck in because it is not going to get handed to you. I do think about it now. If I started trading again, I could easily cut the time it took me to become profitable in half. There are so many early phases in your journey that you can completely cut out on to just save so much time and money. And look, I know I may not look like the type of guy to be giving real professional advice. I'm a 20-year-old living in a penthouse with colourful pillows in my background. But trust me, that is a complete detachment from how I am in trading. In reality, I'm trading extremely professionally. If I could just give you one tip on how you can speed up your trading journey, it would be to trade more professionally, like it's actually going to be your full-time job. And no, I don't mean just sit at the charts for 8 hours a day like your normal full-time job. I don't mean take a trade every day, because that's what a lot of people think trading is. They feel like they're not doing enough if they're not taking trades. I just mean that you have to do things routinely. Trading becomes so much easier when you have a mechanical way of actually doing things at the market. You just come to the market every day and you do the same thing. Yes, it becomes boring, but I'm not here to give you eye candy or TikTok dopamine hits. That's obviously not the audience I'm targeting with this video. I'm sure you have already kind of surpassed that if you're watching this far in. But if you want consistency in your results, you want consistent profitability, then you have to have consistency in everything you do. You come to the markets, you look for the same thing that you know has a consistent edge on the markets every time you go there. In backtesting, it's worked over 10 years, it's worked consistently as long as you've ever traded it. So why would it not work now? You're just gonna do the same thing every single day. Then you just wait for your entry model, you place your trade, and detach from whatever the result is. The result from there, it will never matter, because all you're looking for is long-term consistency. That one payout that you might get from that trade winning, sure, it might pay for even a month's rent. That's pretty bloody good. But if you're able to just trade consistently, then you're building up generational wealth because you can compound. I'm sure that's something you all looked into when you're first getting into trading. Just the idea of compounding your money over and over again. But that's been made so much easier now with prop firms. Now it's literally just, if you can make 15%, then you can get access to millions in funding. You don't need to make that 15% in one trade. It can take you 6 months. It doesn't matter. If you can make 15% in those 6 months, even a year, that is likely going to be 6 figures if you have decent funding, which is easy to get if you can have that profitable equity curve consistently. Bro, literally hundreds of thousands sitting in your room analyzing candlesticks. That's absurd. That is not something that should be possible. If you can even just make 5% per month, let's say, that's 60% per year. If you're able to do that, you can easily pass whatever challenges, that's fine. And from there, if you have 500k in capital, which once again, you're just scaling, that once you're profitable consistently, you can scale as much as you want. Once again, there's no ceiling. Bro, 500k in capital, 5% per month, that's what, 300k a year? And there's no reason you're stopping there. There's no reason that you can't do way more than that. And 5% per month, that is very possible, okay? Trust me, if you can make 3 to 5% per month, you have the ability to make generational wealth, and that is a fact. And that's something I need to talk about because it can easily speed up your journey tenfold. If you're expecting 30% months, even 20% month or 10% months, that is a lot of profit, okay? Obviously that will likely happen every so often, but you can't be expecting that every month. If you're expecting those types of results, you're no longer in the mind of an investor. You're no longer trading professionally, you're likely gambling. You're looking for results that are completely unrealistic. But like I said, if you can literally just make 3 to 5% per month, you can make millions. And I'm not just talking about in decades to come, I'm talking about in a few years, you can seriously make millions. But if you'd rather work your 8 hours a day at your 9 to 5, sure, it will be easier for now. It would be so much easier. You don't have to think for yourself. You can let people kind of do the work for you, and that's fine. We love and respect those people always, but if you truly believe that trading is for you and you have the mindset to be able to make it, then you have to go 110% in on this shit. And whatever little bump you might be going over in your trading right now is not worth quitting over. Improvements will come with experience, and if you can just learn 1% every day, you will make so much difference, because it's back to that compounding shit, bro. If you can just compound everything you do every single day, you will reach levels above all of your competition. And trust me, your competition is really not that fierce. Most people are content with just working a 9 to 5 because, it's a safe route. It's what we're kind of taught to go into. It's what makes the world spin. But once again, I'm not trying to convince you to trade. I generally do not recommend trading to people because I've had people come up to me asking me to teach them and they give up within a week. So I know most people are just going to waste their time. That person has immediately become part of that 95% statistic. That is just not worth their time. Just even that week, just pointless. People give up before even reaching that first hurdle, but if you've already gotten over that, then you're so many steps ahead of everybody. But that's just not where it stops. You do have to keep going 110% in the right direction. But I want to bring it back to a point I was talking about earlier about detaching from the outcome, because that is potentially the most important part about trading. I'm sure you all know by now that technical analysis is really not the hardest part. You may be able to analyze a chart perfectly, you may be completely profitable in backtesting, but your psychology is holding you back. You need to be able to detach from losses, wins even. You need to be able to detach yourself from the market. If you can't walk away on a day without having taken a trade, then you are clearly very emotionally attached to the markets, or you simply aren't experienced enough and you think that you need to be in the markets in order to be working. Back to that shit, bro. People genuinely think you have to take a trade every day to make money, because if you're not actively working, how are you making any further results? Our brains are literally wired to react to results in a certain way. If we win, we're gonna get excited. We might even go on a winning streak, and that's gonna completely change our emotions and how we trade for the next week going on. You're going to be expecting more wins, or you're going to be dreading when you lose because the winning streak is over. And obviously when you lose, you're going to be revenge trading, you're going to be doing all that. It's a whole mess. But once again, it all just ties back to professionalism and just being able to get into the mind of an investor or just a real capital manager. That is all it is. Imagine an investor in the stock market sees a tiny dip and he just immediately sells all his positions. That's not what happens. They are sticking to their original professional analysis because they know that's what's going to give them the edge in the long term. And those investors are the ones that we're piggybacking off to get the momentum off of our zones, off of our gaps, of whatever strategy you trade. So if you're in the mind of an investor, you're trading where they're trading, you're thinking the same way as them, and that's how you're going to make real money in the market. But anyway, most people will see this video and do nothing with it, but those of you who truly do take action, you will be rewarded. So this is your sign, not just to not give up, but to truly go all in if you believe in yourself, because no half-committed trader has ever made it.